essential bushcraft is the essential elements, in Ray's opinion, to make a smaller, compact version of his larger book, Bushcraft. There are many differences between essential bushcraft and his standard bushcraft book, to which this video will not go over today. Claim. Different quotes from people about the work. Dedication page. A note from Ray. As he says here, this smaller format edition of his larger book Bushcraft has been prepared in response to numerous requests for a more portable version of the book. He's cut out non-essential text and corrected any typographical errors that appeared in the hardback. A few new paragraphs of kit that wasn't available when the hardback was published are put into this edition, etc. Talks about being at one with nature. Remember, the essence of bushcraft is not mere survival, but to be at one with nature. I hope Essential Bushcraft, this book, will enable you to reach that state. Ray Mears, March 2003. My copy is signed by Ray Mears. Appreciate that. So there's the contents. So we have outfit, so that's kit. We have cutting tools, water, fire, shelter, cordage, hitting the trail, and living from the land. Now the preface is by Ewan McGregor. And he says that he went on a trip to Honduras with Ray, and he just wished he had a copy before he went of this book. So this is the introduction. He describes bushcraft. He has quotes at the beginning of chapters. This is a good one. We learn that one cannot defy nature, but must adapt and accommodate oneself to her. Nature will not change. It is man who must change if he is to live in conditions where nature is dominant. Good stuff. So this is how the book is laid out. Short introduction, and it goes into the first chapter of outfit. Looks like he's in a nice little tent there, the wood stove. Outfit, he goes into what's important, how to think about it. This is a really great quote. This is one of my favorite quotes, really, of all time. I learned how much of what we think to be necessary is superfluous. I learned how few things are essential and how essential those things really are. Bernard Ferguson from Chindits, Burma, 1943. That's good stuff right there. I really like that. So this is the outfit chapter. This is all about kit. Goes into shelters, sleeping bags, and all sorts of different kit. First aid, as you can imagine, loaded. Some pictures of him preparing, or rather using different shelters, different kit, things like that. This looks like it might be from the Montagnier episode in Canada. Fantastic episode. So he gets into cutting tools. It's all about outfit still. Now he's into cutting tools. He goes into the saw, the knife, the axe, parang, or machete. Very cool stuff. Cutting techniques. This book is absolutely profuse with pictures on pot hooks and, I mean, just how to do everything. I mean, it's not just illustrations, it's pictures that Ray took, by the way. He's the primary photographer for this whole book. He even talks about in the back. He talks about what kind of film he used. He's a real photographer. He's really into it. Right here, he talks about using certain kinds of film, Fujifilm, 100, 100F, or practical, 400, 400. He goes into like his specs on what kind of film he used, his f-stops, all sorts of things. It's pretty interesting, actually. If you're into photography, he took all the photos pretty much. There's a couple photos he didn't take, which he mentions in the back of the book. I believe it's the back. It might be the front of the book. But there's a spot where he talks about like the other photos. Oh, here they are. The very next page. Acknowledgements. So anyways, this book is really quite special. This is a seminal work in the field of bushcraft and wilderness living skills. This is back where we left off. Goes into pot hooks and using saws, and I mean just loaded. Axe work, how to fix nicks, felling, splitting, you name it. Praying work, spoon knife, crook knife. Talks about shovels, snow saws. Goes into water. Talks about how to find water, right? And he gives a picture to illustrate. Even in like a wasteland, you find that one spot using the topography. That one spot of water cuts in between the land. Yeah, man, absolutely fantastic book. Different ways of getting water, different environments, different ways of purification. Goes into different strategies. Fire chapter is absolutely loaded with techniques, how to make matchboxes, different types of matches, different ways of lighting fire, ignition sources. Neolithic period goes into flint steel, ferro rod, different tinders, spark catchers and things, whether it be fungus or, you know, horse's hoof, cramp, all sorts of things like that. Goes into bow drill. I mean, and the pictures are just loaded. Great woods to use. Goes into hand drill. Pictures of natives that he's spent time in the woods with. Goes into other styles. Fire plow, fire saw. Different fire lays. Signal fires, you name it. Shelter. I mean, so this book is just loaded, right? It's just loaded. It goes into conduction, convection, respiration, metabolism. He goes into mechanics of how cold works on your body. And then after that, I mean, that's very lengthy. He goes into shelters, different styles. I mean, top rate right here. This is it. Top shelf, top notch. This book is incredible. Incredible. And it's just filled with pictures he's taken throughout his travels. There's an event tent in central Siberia. I believe that was Mongolia. Great stuff, man. A whole chapter on cordage. Whole chapter on cordage. So this is the book. It's absolutely loaded. I'm just about halfway through it, just to show you what you're looking at. So if you're on the fence about this book, you should check it out. Knots and how to make different styles of rope. I mean, just pages and pages. Hitting the trail. He goes into, you know, how to care for your feet, how to set the pace, mental preparation. How to make a coracle. I can attest to that. My design was a little different, but it was based off a raise that I did in British Columbia, Vancouver Island. When I filmed for History Channel, I made a coracle based off of that right there. That's how it's done. Snowshoes, I mean, just loaded, you know, loaded. This book is something special. Then he goes into how to get calories. He goes into living from the land. Shows a feast that these guys have put together. That was a really good episode as well. They made a shelter that was awesome. Awesome for their region. Let's see if I can find that real quick. There it is. There's the same guys making a shelter. Very cool. Talks about hunting, talks about wild edibles, everything you'd expect. He goes into fungus towards the end of this chapter. Right here. Fungi. If in doubt, leave it out. Don't want to be like Professor Gordon. All of a sudden his vision was monochrome, not black and white, but blue and white. He almost died that day. Gordon is thanked in this book by Ray, his friend. Somewhere in here. Right there in the introduction, perhaps. Ray has a little place where he... acknowledgements, I think it is. He thanks some people, like Rachel, who was his wife at the time, I believe. Right here, Gordon Hillman. Special thanks must go to Gordon Hillman for his unflinching support and advice, etc. So fungi goes into food, shellfish. I mean, you know, he just hits all the places. There's traps in here. Lots going on. Here's some of the traps. This guy in Lapland, unless I'm mistaken, he saw me. He was the husband of a woman, and I believe her name was Britt Marie. And she did scrimsaw and bark tanned hides. They're reindeer hides. If you know his episodes well, you recognize some people in the photos. So that's pretty much it. He goes into trot lines and how to catch fish, things of that nature. Ice fishing, of course. Like he says, that day, I would have been happy with one fish. Now that's a real result. What did he catch? 3 fish? 5 fish? I don't remember what it was. He was in Sweden. Good for him. Good times. That'll feed the crew. Alright, so that's the book. This is one of the most important books on the subject. This is one of my favorite books on the subject. This is an absolute tome of experience, tome of skills. Pictures by the author. There's no cutting and pasting. It's all here. His skills he's used. He demonstrates, he takes the pictures of them being used, of his colleagues using those skills. Incredible book. A seminal work in the field. Ray Mears, Essential Bushcraft. Thank you, Ray. Thank you for publishing this book. And thank you as well for the original Bushcraft, to which this is based off of. You have my thanks. So Ray's Essential Bushcraft is one of my favorite books on the subject matter. Down in the comments below, tell the rest of the native survival community what your favorite book on bushcraft is. This has been Mitch at the Native Survival School. Be sure to check out our website, nativesurvival.com. As always, enjoy the outdoors. Take care.